Two sheets of acrylic sit side by side at the hardware store. Same size, same clarity, same thickness. One costs 3 times more than the other. The sales clerk can't explain why. Google is full of arguments. But 80 years ago, this difference wasn't about money. It was the difference between life and death at 30,000 feet. Why does the time it takes to make a plastic sheet matter this much? 1931. A German chemist named Otto Röhm stared at the clear plastic sheet he just created in his laboratory. Polymethyl methacrylate. It was clearer than glass, half the weight, didn't shatter into deadly shards when broken, and completely useless. Nobody knew what to do with it. Glass had existed for thousands of years. It was cheap. People trusted it. Why replace it with some strange plastic? Röhm filed his patent, gave it the trade name plexiglass, and watched the material sit untouched in industrial catalogs. A solution desperately searching for a problem. That problem would come, and it would come from the sky. By 1936, aircraft engineers across Europe and America were hitting the same wall. To fly higher and faster, pilots needed enclosed cockpits, but the materials available were killing them. Glass was too heavy. A single canopy added enough weight to cripple fuel efficiency. Worse, when shrapnel hit glass at altitude, it exploded into razor fragments flying through the cockpit. Pilots survived enemy fire only to be blinded by their own windshields. The plastics of the era weren't better. Cellulose materials yellowed within months under sunlight, turning cockpits into amber boxes. They became brittle in the cold, cracking at altitude where temperatures dropped to -40. Cockpits remained open. Pilots flew with goggles and leather caps, freezing at 20,000 feet, faces numb within minutes. Then someone remembered Röhm's forgotten plastic. But there was a catch. Not all acrylic was the same. In the war that was coming, that difference would be written in blood. To understand why, you need to know how acrylic is born. And it has two completely different births. Cast acrylic starts as liquid monomer poured between glass sheets. Heat to 85 degrees Celsius. And wait, 10 to 12 hours. During that time, polymer chains slowly bond and arrange themselves like threads being carefully untangled. The result is near-perfect molecular structure. Hold a cast sheet up to the light, and it almost disappears. Extruded acrylic is different. Plastic pellets feed into a machine. Heat to 230 degrees, then force through a die in seconds. Chains have no time to organize. They freeze in chaos, carrying internal stress like permanent scars invisible to the eye. Same molecule, two different materials, 12 hours versus 12 seconds. So if both look identical and weigh the same, why did the difference matter at 30,000 feet with flak exploding around you? The answer came from what happened when shrapnel hit the canopy. 1943. A B-17 Flying Fortress took flak over Germany. Metal fragments tore through the cockpit canopy made from cast acrylic. Instead of shattering like glass, the canopy cracked into large pieces with dull edges. The pilot survived. Another aircraft. Same squadron. Canopy from a lower quality batch with higher internal stress. Same impact. The canopy spiderwebbed into hundreds of tiny fragments. The pilot lost his vision. The military started inspecting every batch of acrylic before it reached the factories. But the story doesn't end in the cockpit. When surgeons removed acrylic fragments from wounded pilots, they noticed something unexpected. Human tissue didn't reject these plastic shards. No inflammation. No infection from the material. Bodies simply accepted the acrylic as harmless. With metal and glass, this never happened. A British eye surgeon named Harold Ridley connected the dots. If acrylic was biocompatible, why not place it inside the eye? 1949. First artificial lens implant. Acrylic replacing a damaged natural lens. The patient could see. Modern cataract surgery. Millions of procedures every year. Traces directly to pilots with cockpit shrapnel in their eyes. A process designed for aircraft windows accidentally created the foundation for restoring human sight. Here's what most acrylic buyers today never realize. The split between cast and extruded from World War II still exists exactly as it was. Cast goes where optical perfection matters. Aquarium tanks like the Georgia Aquarium. Museum cases protecting priceless artifacts. Aircraft windows. Extruded goes where good enough works. Signs, barriers, DIY projects. When you laser cut extruded acrylic, internal stress releases. Edges crack and develop a cloudy haze called crazing that spreads like frost. Cast cuts clean. When you heat bend extruded, it remembers being forced through that die. It warps unpredictably. Cast bends exactly as designed. Two products, two behaviors, same name on the label. Back at the hardware store. Two acrylic sheets. One costs 3 times more. Now you know what you're looking at. The cheap sheet was born in 12 seconds, carrying stress your eyes can't see, but your projects will feel. The expensive sheet was nurtured for 12 hours, polymer chains arranged to military standards from 80 years ago. Neither is universally better. They're different tools. Building a cafe sign? Extruded works? Building a display case for a watch collection? Cast? Or regret it? How to tell them apart? Check the edge. Cast has slight imperfections from the glass mold. Extruded is suspiciously uniform, machine perfect in a way that hints at its rushed birth. 80 years. From a forgotten German laboratory, through burning skies over Europe, into the human eye, and finally onto a hardware store shelf waiting for you to choose. Next time you stand in front of two acrylic sheets that look identical, you won't see two products with different prices. You'll see two completely different processes. One born in 12 seconds, one nurtured for 12 hours. You're paying for time. So what's sitting in your workshop right now? Cast or extruded?